A Gift Worth Fighting For, Chapter 2, Identity Crisis. If children don't know who they are, they will become whatever a person says they should become. Who are you? No, I'm not talking about what your name is. I'm talking about you, the real you. This is the challenge that most of our young people deal with. Trying to figure out who they are. If they don't know who they are, they will become whatever a person says they should become. Hence, developing an identity that never belonged to them in the first place. If we're going to fight for our children, we must know what we're fighting against. Our biggest fight is going to be against pressure or influences that are in our children's lives. We must combat what is being ingrained in them through social media, through music, through friends, and even through our society. Our kids are so easily influenced, and most of the time they're going to go in the direction that everyone else is going. If the majority of their peers are going in the direction of trouble and destruction, then that is what we are fighting against. We must appeal to our children the dangers of following the wrong crowds. Not only following them, but becoming like them. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 10, "My child, if sinners entice you, turn your back on them." But why? Why should I turn my back on them? Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20, "Walk with the wise and become wise. Associate with fools and get in trouble." It is the law of association. When our children constantly and consistently associate themselves with individuals, they begin to look and act like them. This is with positive and negative influence. But how do we pull out of our children who they're supposed to be? First, let's talk about how to make sure they do not begin to resemble the type of people we don't want them to become. We must be diligent in this. We have to know what is going through the ears and eyes of our children. For whatever is going through their ears and the eyes will influence the mind, which will ultimately affect their behavior. Children love wearing earphones. Do you know what they're listening to? When your child is in their room at night, do you know what they're watching on their phone? Do you know what kind of conversations they are having in these group chats on social media? These are questions that you must ask yourself if you're going to guard the mind of your child. The child that lives in your home is often different from the child that lives on social media, and is often different from the child who is not around you. Some parents don't have the password to their child's phone. I have even heard some kids say they would never give their password to their parents. Some parents aren't even friends with their child on social media. This is a tragedy waiting to happen. Monitoring your child's social media and cell phone is a part of setting boundaries. We cannot effectively fight for our children if we do not know what is going on in and through their lives. There is an identity going around with our children that is scary. This identity is one that is violent and unproductive, and it seems like many of our young people are aspiring to be just like that, violent and unproductive. I encourage you, parents, guardians, mentors, next time your child is listening to something in their earphones, ask to hear it. You will quickly learn why our kids say and do some of the things they do. So how do we pull out their real identity? Let's start here. But the Lord said to Samuel, "Don't judge by his appearance or height, for I have rejected him." The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. We must first teach our children that it is what's on the inside of them that makes them who they are. Whatever is in the heart will be seen in their lives. The heart is what defines us. Their real identity is associated with who God says they are. This is what they must understand. They must know that first and foremost, they are children of God that belongs to God. This idea will shape who they are supposed to be. We must teach them that the children that belong to God behave in a certain way. They look and act differently from those who do not belong to God. Even when they are going through their identity crisis, we must speak to who they really are. We cannot, in moments of frustration, deal with them as to who they are pretending to be. Yes, I said pretending because if they are not behaving and acting like the person you've been raising, they are pretending to be someone else. Indeed, with many of our young people, we are in an identity crisis, and we must start calling them by their real identities. But you are not like that, for you are a chosen people. You are royal priests, a holy nation, God's very own possession. As a result, you can show others the goodness of God, for he called you out of the darkness into his wonderful light. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. So who are they really? They are chosen by God. They are part of a royal priesthood, a holy nation, someone that belongs specifically to God. Remember, children are a gift from God given to us, but they still belong to him. They are these things for one purpose, and that is to show others the goodness of God. This is their identity, and this is who they are. While we may be fighting with them and fighting for them, sometimes in this fight, we may have to fight against them. But that's not against them in the sense that we are not on their side. That is against them in the sense of their ways, their ideology of how life should be lived.